Today's podcast is brought to you by Visa, with the capacity to process over 65,000 transaction messages every second. Visa's been bringing innovations to the way we pay for over 60 years. Imagine a world where, instead of just tapping to pay with your Visa, you had to wait for everyone in front of you to cut a check everywhere you went. Imagine how much fun it'd be trying to track down your cousin in Milwaukee for league dues. That's why Visa's vision is to be the best way to pay and be paid everywhere, so you won't have to. Whatever your goals are, Visa makes paying fast and easy. The only thing left to figure out is, where would you like to be? Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. The SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start in Dallas with the Cowboys. All right, throughout the offseason, I kept predicting D-Day in Dallas, the day Jerry Jones and the Cowboys would unleash hell on quarterback Dak Prescott over his prolonged contract negotiation. D-Day has arrived. Stephen Jones, Jerry's son, was the first Marine to land at Normandy. Over the weekend, he opened fire on Dak, explaining in no uncertain terms that Dak is being unreasonable in his contract demands. Stephen accurately stated that Dak needs to take a team-friendly deal so the Cowboys can provide him with the proper supporting cast. On Tuesday, the attack on Dak escalated. You probably missed it. The attack was stealthy. The Cowboys' very public pursuit of Jet safety Jamal Adams was a direct shot at Dak. Jerry Jones entered this season believing he'd constructed a roster good enough to compete for a Super Bowl. We're halfway through the season, and Jerry just acknowledged his roster isn't good enough. He looked around at the Packers, the 49ers, the Saints, the Vikings, the Seahawks, and the Rams and said, damn, I don't like our chances against any of them in the playoffs. We need to make a major move before the deadline. It's Groundhog Day in Dallas. They had to do the exact same thing last year when they acquired wide receiver Amari Cooper. This time, Dallas couldn't get its man, Jamal Adams. Jerry was so distraught about the failed trade attempt, the Cowboys' Twitter feed took the unprecedented step of pointing out the Cowboys failed to land Adams. That tweet was the stealth bomb. It was Jerry throwing up his hands and telling Cowboys fans, I've done all I can do. I tried to get Jamal. I traded for Michael Bennett, and you know I can't stand his national anthem protesting ass. You know who hasn't done all they can do on the field or at the negotiating table?
Who that?
Dak Prescott. It's D-Day, baby. It's Dak Day. From this day forward, everybody in Dallas is going to look at this team, look at this roster, and ask, why are we not as good as the Rams, the Vikings, the Packers, the Saints, the Seahawks, and the 49ers? You already know what the answer is. I don't have to tell you what they're going to say. It starts with a D, the next letter is an A, and it ends with a K. I do not dislike Dak Prescott. I simply think he wants too much money. Dallas has a better roster than Green Bay and Seattle. When you pay a quarterback $30 million or more, you want him to do what Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson consistently do. They make a 4-3 team, 6-2 or 7-1. Jerry Jones isn't going to make the same mistake the Rams made with Jared Goff, who received a $134 million contract extension. The Rams have to overpay because they're the Rams and have no real fan base in Los Angeles. The Cowboys are the strongest brand in sports. They're going to fill up Jerry's world with or without Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott is unwilling to accept a contract in the mid to high 20s, something in the Jimmy Garoppolo range, the Cowboys should let Dak walk after this season and draft a QB in the spring. It's D-Day. Dak put up a good fight, but he lost the contract war. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analyst Bucky Brooks and Mark Schler. Marcellus, I'll start with you.
Yes, sir.
The Cowboys move on from Dak if he's unwilling to take a team-friendly deal.
One, we have to define what team-friendly is, and that is a vague conversation. That's always based upon the variables of every particular situation. So let's stay with the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys need to be genuine in their interest in Dak Prescott. Let me start there. And we talked about it yesterday. They're being disingenuous because they're telling Dak Prescott not that he's not worth a deal. They're telling him to take less than what he's worth so we can build around you. That's disingenuous. Because, one, someone upstairs is getting paid to do exactly what you need to get done, which is find a way to build around me and I get my money. It's a capologist, it's a general manager, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, team president. That's the way it works upstairs. If you're doing your job upstairs and I'm doing my job on this field, then why am I taking haircuts to build a team? Secondly, if you look at this situation, it's amazing that Dak Prescott put himself in this position, and now they're trying to take him out of that position for no other merit but look out for everybody else. And I don't understand that because I see teams that have high-priced quarterbacks that have enough assets to be balanced. And we're going to talk about this going forward. We know that the Vikings have a maxed-out guaranteed contract in Kirk Cousins, and that's the second most balanced team in terms of offense and defense production. The 49ers, the most balanced team right now, got a Jimmy G and paid him too early, some say, and paid him too much. But at the same time, as the cap keeps going up, you're right where you need to be if you're Dak Prescott by what you've done on the field. Unfortunately, narrative, conversation, and conjecture is trying to take away your dollar amount.
Does Dak Prescott, should he sign a team-friendly? No.
Why not?
Why should he? Why should he take less than what he can command on an open market? Why should any of us take less? Listen, I will never understand, and I will never bow down to billionaire owners who claim poorhouse. But the cap, it's restricting us. The cap, you can renegotiate. There's 14 contracts on that team. 15 you can renegotiate right now to fit him under the cap and give him what the open market would pay him if you wanted to do that. So I'm not going to sit here and listen to the Dallas Cowboys cry poorhouse when they're worth $4.5 billion, right? I mean, I just, no. You can negotiate, you can manipulate, you can massage the cap any way you want to do it to fit your players in. And the bottom line is he doesn't have to, because guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to make a decision. And there are going to be 15 teams that are lined up to sign Dak Prescott.
For how much?
For more than what? For
three. The first number will be a three.
Absolutely.
We know that.
So y'all just said there's 15 idiots running NFL teams.
More. There are more.
It's more like,
15
look,
teams.
you can't expect Dak Prescott to take a team-friendly deal when he's been on a team-friendly deal for the first 4 years of his career. 4 years, $4 million. By my account, the starting quarterback at the time he was drafted was making about $20 million per. So that's about $80 million that he's already saved the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have to pay up. And no one told them to run out and give Zeke Elliott a new contract. Nope. They didn't have to pay Zeke Elliott. No. Zeke was a first-round pick. And you know what Zeke was getting? First-round money. There was no need for them to give him an extension when he had 2 years left on his deal. He is worth it. He was a first-round pick. So you draft in the first round, you play like a first-round pick. You then don't go to the table and get more money. They need to pay Dak Prescott. Because, look, sooner or later, the bills come and due.
Pay him Jimmy Garoppolo money.
No. He's more accomplished. He's more accomplished than Jimmy Garoppolo
now, and the cap.
They should have done that. You didn't want to give it to him 2 years ago. They should have gave it to him then. Because right now they're looking at $131.2 million that they're probably going to have to offer up on 3 franchise tags.
This is why.
But see, here's the thing when you say,
right there.
Let him go.
Here we go.
Quincy Carter.
What about him?
Drew Bledsoe, Vinny Testaverde, John Kidner, Chad Hutchinson.
They're not in the draft.
Brandon Wheaton. Oh, you know who you can draft? You can get Mitchell Trubisky. You want to go with that? You good with that?
He's not in this draft.
Oh, Baker Mayfield may be out there. Draft. One of those guys may be out there because when you draft, that's who's coming. Josh Allen. You want Josh Allen to play for the Cowboys? I'm telling you, man, go with players over picks. Pay the man.
Russell Wilson not get drafted?
In the third round,
Did Aaron Rodgers not get drafted? Did these guys, the guys that he wants to get paid like,
and they all got drafted. And they all got paid, so put Dak in that same category.
And Russell Wilson
does he do what they do?
No, he doesn't have to. Russell Wilson got drafted in the third round. I mean, number 24 overall for Aaron Rodgers. There are going to be there's always a run on quarterbacks. Right? Like a year ago, it was a Hall of Fame 5, right?
Yeah.
How many of those guys go in the Hall of Fame right now?
Nasha.
Come on. Come on.
Nasha.
Like, hey, it doesn't matter. There were people that were saying Josh Rosen's the most accomplished college quarterback coming out right now.
I got it.
I'm just telling you.
Listen,
Careful what you wish for.
Sam Bradford, Jared Goff.
Sure.
Jared Goff.
Overpaid.
Oh.
Why do you gotta make the same mistake as everybody else? Everybody knows Dak's not a $30 million a year quarterback. $30 million a year quarterbacks do what Rodgers and Russell Wilson do. He doesn't do that. He's not a guy that elevates everybody else. He's a fine quarterback, paying Garoppolo money. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what Kirk Cousins getting paid.
Same thing.
84 guaranteed.
Same as Garoppolo.
Same as
Yeah,
Garoppolo.
26.
Pay him that kind of money.
And he has
Garoppolo
accomplished his
Yeah,
Dak.
but when Garoppolo signed that contract, everybody said, "How can you pay him that much money?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean that, and now you know what?
Now it looks like a good deal.
Now it looks like a good deal. So you pay him $30 million a year. You know what? 2 years from now, you might be going, "Hell, that was a hell of a deal for us."
And look, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl in his third year. Even though he came up short, still he carried them more so in the playoffs than anybody else in terms of the offensive production. Let's talk about why the Cowboys aren't telling the truth. Because they are trying to present two different worlds, two different realities. They're saying, Dak, we can't pay you right now because we need to build a team for the future. But that contract that you're talking about, I thought Jerry Jones needed to win with this team right now. Think about it. You've been saying Jerry Jones has a lot of time left. Jerry Jones in this moment wants to win with this team that he's built. He's went all in last year with Amari Cooper. He went all in this year, Michael Bennett. So me signing the contract has nothing to do with this reality, but this hypothetical that you're trying to project going forward. Which one is it, Jerry? Which one is it, Steven? Because they don't coexist.
We don't have to sit here and take everything at face value. We can deal with the reality of what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are saying. And what they're saying, and they may not say it directly, but I'll translate it for everybody. Dak, you ain't worth $30 million.
That's all I said. That's why they're being disingenuous. Say he's not worth it.
They are. They're saying it politely. They're clear as day. That's why they haven't given him the money. That's why they keep coming back to team friendly. They're saying it clear as day. We're not paying you like these guys that win games.
Whitlock, how is that polite when you're now going to attack my character and now put
Who's attacking his
Here's
character?
the perception of greed that's going out there. Someone who's taking
He
more.
is being greedy.
Oh, well, that's not an attack on character?
No, because
someone greedy?
In a negotiation, you should be greedy.
I thought you said they were being polite.
They are being polite, but in a negotiation, you should be greedy. I got no problem with them calling him greedy. He is being greedy. That's what he should be in a negotiation.
You just said.
But at some point, reality has to come in and knock on his door and Todd Francis' door. Hey, man, if you want to play here in Dallas, they're not giving you 30-some-odd million. Now, if you want to go play someplace else, if there's a team stupid enough to give you $30 million, we'll let them have you.
Or someone knocks on Jerry and Stevens' door and says he's worth that money. So if you don't want to pay it, just don't pay it.
Let him walk.
Quietly go away. He gets it. Either franchise him at 33.4 or
Don't franchise him.
Okay.
Let him go.
Let him go.
Yeah,
so why
Why are we talking about it?
That's the beauty of this.
Why are we talking about it? Why
We're
are
talking
Steven
because it's a
and
talk
Jerry?
show. It's called Speak for
Why
Yourself.
are Steven and Jerry
Not that
talking
reason.
about? Why are they talking about his deal?
Why are they talking
If they
about it?
feel
Because they'd like to
confident
have him at 27,
as a
28.
discount, no, they don't want to pay him market value. They should have paid him last year. They should have paid him last year when they could have got him. Right now, they have to do it. You can be frustrated. They should have paid him.
Here's the deal.
They should have paid the man.
This is a great thing about negotiation. You know what? My man is rolling the dice on himself.
Yes.
And
I will.
losing.
And I will.
No.
Nate Newton even came out and said, y'all don't know Dak if you don't think he's going to bet on himself. And the Cowboys are selling wolf tickets. Oh, you're not worth it. Well, we can't build around you. Oh, hey, man, we ain't got to fight. Let me go. We'll find out who's going to win this.
The funny thing
negotiation.
about they can't build around it. What were they doing the 4 years when he's playing on this peanut deal? When he's only making $4
They
million?
have built a great team around
Well,
him.
if it's so
And
great,
the
then they should be able to pay him now because the team should be ready to go. Look, he gave them 4 years at a very discounted cost. That is when you're supposed to build your team up around him. So he gave them 4 years. Hey, build up the team and I'm ready. No.
With a
It is
roster,
it
with
is
the
time
right
for them to pay.
quarterback, they should be 6-1.
Oh, what about that multi-million-dollar running back that they had to have? Like, if he's
Are you
all of
kidding
that,
me?
I am
That's the
dead
best-
serious.
Zeke's the best running back in football.
You're comparing him to Russell Wilson. Compare him to Russell Wilson in year 2. In year 3. They're not the same. Russell Wilson is not the same
Well,
Russell
Dak's
Wilson that
in
we
year
see
4
now.
right now. So I compare him with
compare
Russell.
him with
But you know,
Russ had a Super
Russell's-
Bowl by then.
Russell's
I
on his
gotta
third
go.
contract.
Because they built around it.
Whitlock and Wiley, Mark Schlereth is back. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst James Harrison. Time now for a big story. Let's move to Cleveland. Where Baker Mayfield's ugly season just keeps getting uglier. The quarterback was talking with reporters today at his weekly press conference when one asked him a question he didn't seem to appreciate very much.
Penalty happened and we're behind the chains.
Running.
No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple.
Were you happy with that drive?
Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. That's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus,
All right, Baker tweeted about the incident almost immediately, writing, quote, "Everybody wants to hear the truth until they actually get it. I am who I am and always have been. Don't call it emotional when it's convenient and then passion when it fits. I care about winning. So yeah, I'm frustrated. If I was to act like it's okay to lose, then y'all would say that I've gotten complacent. My sense of urgency is at an all-time high. And if I offend anybody along the way, that's too bad." All right, let me translate that for you.
Let's hear it.
My sense of panic is at an all-time high, and I'm panicking and getting the hell out of here. Is this another red flag for Baker Mayfield?
It is. And if I were in that locker room, I would be giving him hell because one thing about my personality is I love to bring levity to a situation. Oh, everybody all uptight? I got a joke for all of y'all to just burst that bubble. I hated the theatrics of football. That whole production of concern. I care more than anybody out there. I want to win more than all the other guys in the locker room. So I'm going to yell at the dude with the microphone at the podium. What does that have to do with translating what we all work for in terms of production, in terms of what the game means? So all the bulletin board material, how I always want the smoke, but now it seems like I'm choking on that same smoke that I want. It just disturbs me at my core because I see guys go out there and become thespians at times to act like that they really care. And then when they get out of control, that's supposed to be evidence that they really care. And this is just saddening because all he needs to do is bring that same energy when he's on the field and line it with the team and their philosophy and their execution. Everything else to me is just theatrics.
The immaturity of this team is something that I was concerned with from the very start of the season when Baker Mayfield claimed the hype is real. It's exactly what it was, hype. And by the way, if you look up hype, right, that's hyperbole. Hyperbole is not real. It's fake, right? And that was, I mean, the immaturity overall of this football team is alarming. I'll juxtapose what he just did in that press conference with what Watson did in his press conference a couple weeks ago when he was explaining coverage to the reporter and said, man, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to talk down to you, but let me explain what you're looking at here, right? And he went through it, and it was one of the most enlightening pieces, like
refreshing
for everybody,
too.
right? It was great.
Yeah.
Like, you have a certain responsibility as the quarterback to be mature, right? You have to take. This is what the great quarterbacks do. And I got to be around one in John Elway, who's one of the best that's ever played the game, okay? Despite what I said yesterday about, I can be honest.
Somebody
right?
backpedal.
I'm off. No, I'm not going to backpedal at all.
All pro safety over there.
Because what's going on over there is not good. But as a player, you have to take 100% of the smoke when it comes at you. You got to take 100% of the criticism when it comes at you as a football team, and you have to deflect 100% of the praise when it comes at you. That's what a quarterback's responsibility is. So when you play great, you know what you have to say? You have to say, man, we ran the ball exceptionally well. Our defense is unbelievable. Our offensive line took it. And when you get sacked and it's your O-line's fault, you have to say, man, I got to get rid of the ball. You have to do that. And he is incapable of being mature enough to play quarterback at this juncture.
Yeah, I think he's nervous. He's very, very, very emotional because I think it's fear. Like right now, he's scared. He's nervous. We only got 2 wins, and right now I don't want to really take any questions. Everything I said from the beginning of the year, now I'm gonna have to answer for, and this is a stupid question. I understand stupid questions because I've been asked them, but I've never up and left an interview because I didn't feel like the question was appropriate. Right now, he needs to get a hold of his emotions and understand that you're in a position where you're going to be the person asked questions every day, 2 times a day, and you're going to have to respond in the appropriate manner. And you can't be that emotional, almost child that says, you know what, I don't want to hear what you got to say, I'm running off. And then I'm going to go and tweet about it and make my point. Well, you could have sat there and explained your point or made whatever he was saying, invalid and put your point right there, but you decided to do it a different way. I think he needs to grow up and, basically man up and stop using his emotions as a crutch.
I want to be careful because I sound terrible when I say this, but I really don't like short quarterbacks, and this is part of it. It's the mental makeup of when you're not tall enough in a sport that rewards size.
You're not going Napoleon, are you?
Doug Flutie didn't. I played with Doug Flutie. He ain't like this ever.
Are you?
Look, there's a chip on his shoulder. There's a boulder on his shoulder. I wasn't recruited enough. I wasn't the big-time recruit, and I had to walk on to 2 different places.
It's nothing wrong
because
with
I
having
wasn't.
a chip.
I get it.
You have one.
No question.
And if he played defensive line or outside linebacker, love it. Carry that chip. But at the quarterback position, because what I see is insecurity.
Right.
Yeah. That's what all of that is insecurity.
Russell Wilson's 5'11",
I
and
get
that's
it.
one of the most secure quarterbacks on the face
there
of the planet.
There are exceptions to the rule.
Right.
There are exceptions to the rule.
To me, it's just an overall maturity thing, Jason.
He's immature, but he also has a chip on his shoulder about being undersized at that position, and that's why he wasn't recruited, and blah, blah, blah. This dude, I hate to, Cowherd was 1,000% right from day one. I didn't see it. I thought he was going to use the smoke to elevate himself. He can't transition from, hey, man, this isn't college football anymore. The fact that you walked on and did this or that in college football, that doesn't translate here to the NFL. Everybody in the NFL has a story, an incredible one. Basically, you ain't the only one, Baker. Let it go.
This reminds me of Floyd Mayweather, and I'll take you back to when I first met Baker Mayfield, and I met him with a camera crew and production staff and his family and friends. And I was like, oh, document this. You're the #1 overall pick. I get it. Had no problem with that. But I remember looking at Floyd Mayweather and knowing him when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, and then he became Money Mayweather. And everything changed in perception. And a lot of athletes want to buy into that type of persona. Here's the thing about it. If you're going to be that type of persona, you have to do what Floyd did, which is, 1, be perfect. I mean, you can't lose. And if you ever put yourself in harm's way, you have to do the second thing, which is respect the game and all of its parts. If you watch Floyd, how he does it, it's calculated. Talks trash, make you hate him. Love him or love to hate me. And then soon as that match is over, nothing but love, glowing respect for those involved with the process. Rinse and repeat. Baker, because of the lack of maturity, I should say, is in a place where right now he's not respecting those parts. And his insecurity is not so much that he's lost, is that he has no idea how to figure his way out.
Joined now by Fox MLB analyst Tom Verducci, live from Houston as we look ahead to Game 7 tonight on Fox. Tom, I got to give you credit. You came on this show. You said if the Nationals were to pull the upset in this series, Juan Soto would be the big star, and he certainly is on his way to being the big star in this series. Did you like him trolling Alex Bregman last night during his home run trot?
I'll admit I did, Jason. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, think back in the quote-unquote old days, if someone did what Bregman did, the way to handle it, next time he comes up, he gets a baseball going 98 miles an hour at his noggin, right? I never understood that, never liked it. It's a good way to get somebody and their career, actually. What Soto did, I thought, was so cool to say, basically, yeah, I can do that. The best part was he hit the home run, right?
Yeah.
But the way he handled it, I thought was pretty cool. I didn't have a problem with it. I've gotten way past the whole bat flipping thing. This is baseball's equivalent to, slam dunks, touchdowns, especially World Series. You hit a big home run. The guy just, had done something I had never seen before. Bregman taking that bat down to first base. The response of a 21-year-old Juan Soto, I thought was cool.
Yeah, Soto, amazing. Justin Verlander's winless streak in the World Series, not so amazing. We saw how that's affected Clayton Kershaw's legacy in terms of postseason failures. How will this streak affect Justin Verlander?
Yeah, it is a part of his legacy. You just can't escape taking the ball 7 times and not winning a World Series game. Now, listen, he has not had more than 2 runs of support when he's been on the mound in any of those World Series games. You have to look at that factor as well. But I think even Justin will tell you in some of these games, and I will include last night, not at the top of his game. You know, his stuff just hasn't been as sharp, especially the slider throughout the postseason. He was gassed by the time he got to the 5th inning, had to come out of the game. So, yeah, this guy's done everything in the game. I mean, you name it, Rookie of the Year, MVP, Cy Young, 20-game winner, 300 punch-outs. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But he can't say that he's won a World Series game. He's had more starts, more cracks at it than anybody else without getting a W in the World Series. So, yeah, when you talk about legacies, it's not the first line of his legacy, but it's up there.
All right, last night, Tom, Major League Baseball kind of had its Saints-Rams controversy from a year ago in the NFC Championship, a non-reviewable runner interference play. I felt like the NFL overreacted and enacted rules to try to make sure this never happened again. How can MLB prevent this from happening again?
Yeah, I don't think they can, Jason. We've gone through this before. We went through this with J.C. Martin in 1969, Chuck Knobloch in that postseason series, ALCS with the Cleveland Indians. It's going to happen. Now, listen, the reason that base line, that running lane is there, because back in the day, guys used to run almost across the field to get in the way of a throw from coming from anywhere on the infield. So to control the runner's path and also to protect the health of the first baseman, that's why that lane is there. Now, I will grant you, it creates a lot of difficult decisions for the umpire. Last night, that was the epitome of a judgment call, like pass interference or taking a charge in the NBA. Listen, if the call didn't go the way that it went for the Astros, you would have seen A.J. Hinch out there arguing the way that Dave Martinez was. Borderline call could go either way. But to answer your question, I don't think there's an easy fix for this. It comes up once every few years. During the season, you'll see it a handful of times. But I think it's too important to keep that runner in a lane to just do away with it.
Now, how much faith do you have in Scherzer being healthy tonight? Reports saying that he couldn't even lift his arm above his shoulder a few days ago.
Yeah, it's Max Scherzer. He's breathing. Today he can lift his arm. So, yeah, I have faith in the guy that he's going to go out there and compete. That we know. You know, listen, he had the cortisone shot. I was surprised he was out throwing yesterday. This is a guy who literally could not lift his arm on Sunday, couldn't really even get out of bed. So with that cortisone shot, with the rest, he not only threw, played catch before the game, we saw him get up in the bullpen, right? And I think that was an indication this guy is good to go. They would not have pushed him to get up in the bullpen last night, and he was coming into the game. If that game was tied or was a one-run game, Scherzer's in the game. That tells me, don't worry about him physically. He's ready to go. Now, we'll see what kind of length he can give, but as Dave Martinez said, he's going as long as he can. There's no pitch count. There's no watching this guy closely. It's very tough to take Max Scherzer out of a game.
Hey, Tom, this series has been crazy. The road team has won every game in this series. Is this just some kind of kooky quirk in the system or an aberration, or is there something unique about these stadiums where the home teams just don't have an advantage?
No, this is an absolute quirk. This is a complete aberration. I mean, think about it. There's been something like 1,400 series in the NHL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball. There's never been a series like this where the road team has won 6 games. And obviously, if the Nationals win tonight, it's an all-road win series. That has never happened before. So there's no explaining this. I don't know that we'll ever see anything like this again. We've seen series where the home team has won every game, right? But road team, not even 6, forget about 7. I mean, it's interesting when you think about this year, Jason, the NBA Finals, the NHL Finals, the World Series, the home teams are 3-16.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on, but something's wrong with the way the planets are lined up for the home teams.
You got a quick prediction for tonight?
I like the Astros. I don't know why. I think the key to this game is I think A.J. Hinch will get Zach Greinke out of this game early if he does what he's done throughout this postseason, and that is nibble Jose Urquidy. He's the guy to watch tonight for the Houston Astros. That guy's not scared.
Hey, Tom, thank you. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the work. All right, tonight, It's the final game of the World Series as the winner takes all. The Nationals are battling for their first ever title, while the Astros look to clinch their second in front of the Houston faithful. Nationals-Astros, Game 7 tonight at 7:30 Eastern on Fox. Whitlock and Wiley, joined by Fox College football analyst Joel Klatt. It's time for That Dudes. Marcellus, what
yes,
you got?
Oh, man, paying homage to D Ohio State, as you'll see in these three clips. Let's call it DE Ohio State, D-line Ohio State, as you'll see right here. Our first one is defensive end Chase Young, forever young. Chase Young with the nice move to collect one of his 4 sacks of the day. Does well at the contact point. Look at him drop his hips. This is why you go to the weight room, to translate that onto the field. You see him drop his hips. Now David Mormon says, oh, I'll come save you. No, you're not. You're just going to be part of the double team that now Chase Young defeats with a nice rip move. He just gets skinny. Skinny's not enough. Do a move in that moment. Chase Young, I know where you're going to be top of the draft, big dog, and take those 4 Buckeye helmet stickers.
Nick Bosa should be on the other side of that defensive line.
Ooh, he should still be there, but you know why he's not? We'll get to that. Number 2, Chargers defensive end Joey Bosa. Bosa constrictor right here. A former Buckeye, Joey Bosa, had 2 sacks on the day. See him off the snap, the chipper.
Damn.
I don't want nothing to do with you, Bosa. I'm going to get out of here. Leaves tackle Bobby Massey alone. Bosa with a nice little wiggle to throw Massey off and set him down. Massey with a weak punch. Bosa going to swipe them hands down. No power behind it. And check out the hip turn. Goodness. This is what they try to teach you, but...
straight line to the QB.
I just say, yeah, the DNA got to kick in too. And look at that knee. Dragging it on the ground. Leverage, flexion from the ankle to the knee to the hip. That is called athleticism right there. Mitchell Trubisky, take that. A couple of Buckeye helmet stickers for you, Joey Bosa. You deserve it. Hey, my man. The bigger, better brother, that's Joey Bosa.
He looks like Usain Bolt coming out of the blocks.
I know, right?
And now here's our number 1, defensive end Nick Bosa. Nick the Quick. Oh, my God. Only out there just to get interceptions and 3 sacks on the day. Good Lord, Bosa with the perfect technique.
Get off me.
Clear the chop block.
He wanted that
running back. All right, let's see how he got this done. First, you have to clear your feet. This is perfect technique right there. Push the shoulder pads down, clear your feet, and now it's time to eat. In the perfect position, I may add. And he turns into a running back in this moment. Now, let's get Kyle Allen out the way. And DJ Moore is going to be, I got to make a business decision back here. Calculations. Get out of here, DJ Moore. DJ Moore said, not a problem. Now he tries to go back at Kyle Allen. DJ Moore's still there. If you just slow down in this moment, I know you're not a running back. You had the cavalry coming to block. Look at all those white shirts showing up. Still doesn't matter. Amazing play for Nick Bosa, Nick the Quick. You know who you are? With those Ohio State stickers.
He get them all.
He got them all. He's a beast. Number 1, that dude of the week.
All right, thank you, Marcel. Let's move to one of your dudes, Ohio State's Chase Young, who is a dominant force in Ohio State's latest win over Wisconsin and has been a dominant force all year for the undefeated Buckeyes. In fact, our buddy Joel Klatt says over the weekend that Young needs to be on everybody's Heisman radar, including that idiot Clay Travis. And at the moment, Fox Bet has him listed as 5th in their Heisman odds at plus 2,000 behind Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Young's teammate Justin Fields. I know I don't agree with this list. Not at number 5.
No. That's way too low.
Yes.
Way too low.
Look, Chase Young winning the Heisman, it's not going to happen.
Oh, come on.
Look, he's going to be in the Final Four. He's going to be invited to New York, but it's not going to happen. Let's just all recognize what's happening. 1, there are warts on the quarterbacks that were Heisman hopefuls. 2 are missing some games, right? Jalen Hurts, there's no Heisman moments in losing the game. And now we're starting to see let's go fall down to a defensive end who is playing amazing, who was hyped up coming into the season and exceeding those expectations. But let's just be real about this situation. He's going to get beat by someone who's going to have that signature moment. And Desmond Howard's pose as a defensive end and Woodson's sideline catch as a defender, all of that gives you that moment.
Yeah.
Will he get that moment?
Maybe.
No. You know why he won't get that moment? Because there's going to be a game next week coming off of a bye for 2 teams, Alabama versus LSU. And Joe Burrow, who's on pace to have 50 touchdowns this year, is going to have all of America watching that game Meanwhile, Chase Young will probably go get 3 sacks against Maryland at the same time. And that's going to be the problem. No signature moments on top of that amazing production.
See, I would actually disagree because I think that the moment might actually happen too soon for LSU and Alabama. Let me discuss this. I think there are 3 reasons, guys, why I think Chase can and maybe will win the Heisman Trophy. I think he's much more in the vein of Charles Woodson than he is in the vein of Ndamukong Suh and Manti Te'o, 2 primarily defensive players that were finalists for the Heisman Trophy since Woodson won his Heisman Trophy. First and foremost, these guys, he's the best player on the best team right now. Okay, right now. And if that continues, then we're going to see
He plays for Alabama.
I'm sorry?
He plays for Alabama?
No. Chase Young is the best player right now on the best team.
Oh, yes. But that's not the best team.
And I think they're the best team. In a lot of people's estimation, they're the best team, and they're going to have a chance to. By the way, don't give me Alabama's the best team. Don't get me started on this. Their opponent's winning percentage is .391. That's the worst in Power 5. I digress. The Ohio State Buckeyes, though, are real, all right? They're dominant in every fashion. So he's a great player on a great team. Then let's go to the team. It's not a pop-up like Notre Dame was with Manti Te'o. Did you know in the 5 previous seasons to their national championship game run, in the 5 previous seasons, Notre Dame was unranked for the entire season 3 times. And in the other 2 seasons, the highest they ever got were 16 and 18. So that national championship run was just a pop-up. And Ndamukong Suh played for a non-factor Nebraska team that was just 10-4 and did not compete at the highest levels of college football until they were in the Big 12 title game against Texas and Colt McCoy. So now you've got Ohio State much more like Michigan was with Charles Woodson, that was right there in the thick of things as it relates to a national championship hunt. And then here's the last thing, and Marcellus, this is where I would disagree with your assertion about stages. If you actually look at the schedule and you look at what Chase Young has ahead of him, the last 3 weeks of the season, he could potentially be playing an undefeated against undefeated Penn State team at home. That could be a massive 2 versus 4 type of game that would get 11, 12, 13 million viewers. It'll be the top-rated game of the day by far.
And we have that game.
We have that game. I'll be there with Gus. The very next week, Gus and I are going to travel to the Big House to do guess what game? Michigan and Ohio State. That is the top-rated regular season game in college football every single year. Then the next week, he could have a Big Ten championship game, likely in a rematch against Wisconsin or maybe even Minnesota. That is usually one of the highest rated games of the year and of the day. So in 3 straight weeks, right before the ballots are cast, Jason, this guy could have the biggest stages. He does anything. It gives you that moment. It's a strip sack. It's a sack. It's him standing over flexing. He's got that Heisman. He's got a chance now. I think this guy could actually win the Heisman Trophy.
All I say is those moments don't let you catch up and close the gap on a quarterback. That's the problem. If Joe Burrow goes out there and balls out against Alabama and upsets Alabama, that lead will be insurmountable.
But Kyler needed Tua to get hurt last year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that happens everywhere. Charles Woodson needed Peyton Manning to lose against Florida, right? You know, and so maybe he needs some help.
Let me tell you why he's wrong. And Marcellus, you'll love this because you're a track guy. And see, what you're caught up in is the preliminary races. We haven't gotten to the main 100-yard dash. And that's what Joel is talking about. The Heisman race, to me, really started last week. There's been a lot of talk, Joe Burrow and all these other guys, but the votes haven't been cast, and there's enough attention being focused. And here's the only thing Joel left out, because I love his point. I wasn't even thinking about Penn State. I was just mostly thinking about Michigan and that stage. But the number one reason why he's going to win is because we know exactly how good he is because of the Bosa brothers.
Interesting.
We're not going to be speculating about how good he is. Like, we're going to be saying, no, he's as good, if not better, than the Bosas, and that's going to elevate him even further.
That elevates you in story, but then you start to slight the production, and this is just how people will interpret it. They will almost say, what system is going on out there in terms of that production? We know he's a phenom. 6'5", 265, and the bend that he has. I'm not saying
How they going to blame it on system when the Bosas have gone to the NFL and done the exact same thing?
And we respect that. But at the same time, we're also going to say these numbers can get inflated when you're at Ohio State. The projections are out the door when you're talking about a Heisman vote. We're not talking about what he's going to become. We're talking about what he is. And anyone who plays DN of late at Ohio State is putting up.
No, they're not.
Not like
13 and a half. At this point, this guy's going to finish with 20 sacks and probably 25 tackles for loss.
Or more.
That's
Maybe.
those
and then
are
that's
incredible.
going to surpass a quarterback that has 50 touchdowns?
Well, maybe.
That beat Alabama?
Listen, maybe.
I'm just asking.
I'll give you this. If Joe Burrow continues to play great and they beat Alabama on the road and he wins the SEC championship game, there's a good chance it's going to be Joe Burrow's.
Yeah.
I get that. I totally understand that. But as is the case every year, stuff happens. If Bama beats LSU, Chase is going to be right there. I just think that this is more real than a Sue or a Manti Te'o type of run towards a Heisman Trophy. This is more Charles Woodson than it is any other defensive player. And from that standpoint, I think that he's a bona fide candidate. Not just, hey, wouldn't it be great if Chase Young goes to New York? This guy could win the Heisman Trophy. And right now, in every Heisman voter that I talk to, and there are thousands of us, I understand that, but in every one that I talk to, he's in the top 2. That's important. And this is the stretch, and Joe Burrow is the second.
Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
When you come out of nowhere like a Joe Burrow, I think that gives you a little edge, too. It's a greater story. Y'all can jump on it.
One of the things that's going to hurt Burrow, if you really get down to it, because then you're starting to, nitpick, right? Is that you could say, well, he wasn't this player without Joe Brady, the passing game coordinator who came from the Saints. Right, so there was a coaching aspect, whereas Chase Young has been this player for 3 straight years.
James Harrison is back, and Bucky Brooks are back. Let's move to Baltimore, where the Ravens host the Patriots Sunday night. And I've been guaranteeing all week that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens will hand New England their first loss. Marcellus and others have been mocking me. But Pro Football Focus just put out their rankings of the NFL's best coaches, and none other than Ravens coach John Harbaugh is number 1 on their list. I want to clarify. The list is about key decision-making that elevates your team. John Harbaugh's been doing a masterful job of that. It gave me, when I read it this morning, it gave me more confidence in my pick that I really believe this is the week the Patriots meet their match. This is a bad matchup with this running game and Lamar Jackson. It's a unique running game. They got him at home. It's a 3.5-point spread. The Ravens are getting 3.5 points. I feel very good about this, and Pro Football Focus makes me even more confident. The undefeated streak for the Patriots ends on Sunday.
I wish this was confidence, man, but
it is.
It's just confirmation bias, and you are biased against the Patriots, and you're biased for the Ravens going in there, and then someone just gave you some ammunition that didn't move the needle at all. If you think about it, he's already a Tier 1 coach. He's one of the
I don't
few.
see Belichick on that list.
You see that? Belichick's not making decisions?
Well,
if he's not on that list.
Ask Sam Darnold, should Belichick be on that list? Ask Baker Mayfield, who's snapping at reporters today because of Belichick. He ain't seeing ghosts. He's trying to create ghosts. Like, look, dog, whatever this list is, the Tier 1 should belong on it. And we know who our Tier 1s are. Pete Carroll, you could add to it as well. Mike Tomlin.
John Harbaugh's 10-6 against the Patriots. Am I right on that 10-6?
No, he's 3-6.
3-6.
3-6.
Yeah. Take a lot of those wins away.
I'm like 10-6. Don't nobody got no winning record like that.
Y'all remember that tour we had growing up? That little speaking spell, you pull the string. Yeah. Whitlock.
Yeah.
Because you want to bet this game.
Yeah.
Somebody just.
So I've already bet it.
Okay, then you just pulling that string.
I need to be your bookie.
Yeah. Bruh, I'm just trying to tell you. Belichick has his way with young quarterbacks. No matter how great Lamar Jackson is, this is going to be a tough one for him, bro.
Yeah, this is not confirmation. I mean, it's confirmation for you. It gives you more confidence because you done laid money on the line, but it's not going to happen. You got a young quarterback in the second year. He has an impressive record against him. The coach himself is probably the best head coach of all time. Just because this Pro Football Focus done gassed you up, you go out there and burn your money. Like, it's not. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
I will say this. The one thing that has hurt New England in the past, athletic quarterbacks have had success.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson had success. Yeah. Colin Kaepernick went up to Foxborough and had success when he was playing in his prime. Lamar Jackson can have success. He's going to have to be able to throw the ball some. But the unscripted plays can hurt this defense. If he gets out the cage, he gets outside and makes some things happen, that can be something. But New England's going to have to deal with this running game, and this running game is unique. It's a challenge. It's the +1 when you run the quarterback. Yeah. So the numbers are now even. So everyone is going to be tasked to have to get off their blocks and win. Lamar Jackson can be the guy that's the deciding factor. I don't know if it's all going to be coaching, but Lamar Jackson can certainly make it.
Bill is going to make sure that the run game is number one. He's going to take that away, and if they win, he's going to have to pass that ball in the pocket and not get picked off by these corners they got.
Yeah.
He is not going to let him run the ball as effectively as they have been doing all season. If he got to put 12 people in the box.
That's the only thing that can do it. That's the only thing that can do it, though.
He's not going to allow that.
Unless you put 12, you're not stopping this running game unless you can find a 12th defender.
Somebody had to stop it. They got 2 losses.
That doesn't mean they stopped the running game. That means they
did enough to win.
No, I think in their losses, Lamar wasn't a very effective passer. But listen, you can run on this Patriots team. I'm not going to knock their defense. Their defense is great, but it's a little bit overvalued. I think the Browns proved that you can run on this team. I just want to say this.
I understand what you're saying, but I think they went into that saying, let's see if Baker Mayfield can beat us.
Look, I will look at this. And he's right about that. They take away your greatest strength. I'm looking at the Pittsburgh game when they lost, but they won the Pittsburgh game, but that was their worst rushing performance, and that's Pittsburgh. By the numbers, Belichick has his best defense ever. I'm not going to go there in terms of personnel and where they really grade because they haven't played the toughest schedule. But by the numbers, this is the best Belichick defense ever. He's going to look at Lamar Jackson and simply say, look, I understand the plus-run running game, but that can't work against us. Schematically, we're just going to stop that. Now what do you want to do? Are you going to turn it to Lamar Jackson Miami, which said, I'm only running the ball 3 times, and I will dart you. And Lamar Jackson has that potential. The problem is we just haven't seen it exampled by any young quarterback consistently for 60 minutes. Look what he did. Sam Darnold, think what you want of him. Saw ghosts. Baker Mayfield, say what you want, is imploding. And now he gets Lamar Jackson, who is, to me, better than both of those guys. But goodness, Belichick is a difference maker, man.
He is a difference maker. The only thing that I worry about when I see the Patriots play man-to-man more than any team in the league. And so when you have your defensive backs with their back to the quarterback, if he gets out, we're talking about explosive plays.
Yeah.
And so I know they're going to do everything to contain him, but all it takes is him to make one guy miss. And I don't know how athletic they are in their front 7. When it comes to dealing with Lamar Jackson, guys have to keep him on the proper pad. It's going to be a challenge. I think it's going to be the biggest challenge that they face today dealing with this.
Agree with that.
I'm going to tell you one thing, just the journalist in me and the writer in me. Both of you all have said something that I think it will be interesting. This offense is different and unique, and no one has been able to really define it. And sometimes when you have stuff like this, my friend Ralph Wiley years ago came up with the term Billy Ball, talking about the Oakland Athletics baseball team.
Yeah.
Y'all have just, I don't even know if y'all know, but this is the +1 offense. This is the new wrinkle. Y'all both have said, and it made me think, the +1 offense, I think, is unique. Do we think it can survive? Maybe not. Maybe they're putting Lamar in too much harm's way. But while it exists, it's dangerous. And I just want, because, yes, do I have a bias? I root against the Patriots, no question about it. But I'm just going to tell you this, because I thought about this morning. I'm just telling you, this is what a lot of people don't understand about coaches and gamblers. We just want to win. It's never personal. It's just a gambler wants to win, he wants to have money, and a coach just wants to win, and it's never personal. Again, that's because some people are like, man, I thought you didn't, you weren't that high on Lamar Jackson. As a passer, I'm really not. But as a winner, as someone whose offense right now is working, and the kind of offense that I think you can beat Belichick and the Patriots with, love him to death.
Well, how can you say it's never personal, but you have a bias against the Patriots?
Yes, you just said that.
Again, when I do have a bias, I have a bias, and I'd like to admit it.
I'm just making sure.
When it comes down to me putting some money on the line,
you lose that.
That's not personal. I'm a gambler. I just want to win.
Well, let me tell you about this +1 that I'm going to let Bucky run with because he started that. The +1 offense, the spirit of it is just a wildcat. And the only difference really is you have someone who's going to be in that position all the time instead of some of the times because that tips the defense. So the wildcat knew that it had its doomsday because every time it came in, we knew there are only certain plays you could run. This is different.
No, the wildcat, you move that quarterback out to wide receiver, and he's basically going to do
But he
nothing.
occupies the guy. That's a block.
Sort of.
That's a block.
Sort of. It ain't a real block. It ain't like when he's
You can't leave him
but it's funny,
naked out there.
But occupation is a
But even with that, because it's funny that you mentioned the Wildcat. I don't know if you remember years ago, the Miami Dolphins unleashed the Wildcats on the Patriots, and they had a problem
Ate 'em.
defending it. Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams and those guys. So he has had problems in the past dealing with the quarterback run game. So they have to have a plan. And the thing about it, maybe the Patriots play a little more zone so they can get eyes on the quarterback and make sure that Lamar Jackson.
The other thing about the Wildcat that's different than this +1 offense is at some point, and we'll see it this weekend, and I think we've seen it before, he's going to look like run, he's going to take 2 or 3 steps back, and he's going to throw the ball over your head. Ronnie Brown, the Wildcat guys couldn't do that. There wasn't the threat of that.
Right.
That's why Kaepernick had success against, because like he could run or he could uncork one of these wobbly passes, and it'll be complete.
Listen, I'm not saying the Patriots aren't going to have problems or challenges. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but they're going to win.
That's the thing I don't understand. They're going to win.
It's at Baltimore. John Harbaugh is a guy. John Harbaugh's
Ray
a guy.
Lewis dancing
too? Probably.
Omar coming. Omar coming.
He whistling.
Yeah, Omar
9 o'clock, I'm going to FaceTime you, and I'll be there. Counting this damn money that I'm about to win. Trust me, it's not personal. It's just business. Let's move to New York, where the Jets safety, Jamal Adams, was the subject of some intense speculation as the NFL trade deadline was looming yesterday. Adams was rumored to be headed to Dallas, but ultimately the team didn't pull the trigger. Even still, the All-Pro wasn't happy with his team, tweeting that the GM had gone behind his back shopping him after asking not to be traded. The Jets denied they had shopped him around, but Adams was still heated today. Take a listen.
You know, I woke up Monday morning, and, I kind of found out through a couple of reliable people that I have a lot of trust in that I was being, shopped around. I didn't take that lightly. I really didn't. But when I heard that I got the call, that my agent called me and he told me what was going on, it definitely hurt me. You know what I mean? I hold myself at a high level. The Rams don't take calls on Aaron Donald. The Patriots don't take calls on Tom Brady. You know what I mean? That's where I hold myself in that regard.
I get exactly where he was coming from. I was at Wally's the other day and told a young lady, an Instagram model, I hold myself to the same standard as Denzel. Any of these guys out here, the top of the game, treat me that way. And that's how delusional Jamal Adams sounds.
Yes.
He should not be upset with the Jets.
Should not be at all, man. Everyone has a price, brother. And if you're getting paid, trust me, there's a price on your head. Shame on your ego, too, for it putting you in this position where you think that you are priceless. I had the privilege and the opportunity to get off the beaten path and find myself in the second war room one time when I was a San Diego Charger. Many players don't know about there's 2 war rooms. There's one for the undrafted collegiate prospects, and there's one for all of us that are active, the real veterans. And I remember walking in there, and immediately it felt like security grabbed me. Like, oh, no, don't go in there. But I took a peek, and I saw Peyton Manning's name up there. And I was like, oh. And I remember that discussion, and look, they didn't get mad at me or anything. It was just a simple accident, but it hit home because everyone is available at the right price. So, Jamal Adams, instead of you taking this as a compliment, you're taking it somewhere else, but you shouldn't feel that way.
I always told young players, show up on Tuesday to the facility. Show up on Tuesday to the facility on your day off and watch all the cats come through here to work out, take your spot. I used to tell them that all the time. Do yourself a favor. I want you to show up here the first Tuesday of the regular season, or the second, or the third, and just take a look at what goes on behind the scenes. Like revisionist history. Did they not? You don't think Tom Brady's name came up in discussions when they had Jimmy Garoppolo? That divorce was pretty ugly.
It did.
And all of a sudden it was Bill Belichick calling the Niners on the phone with Kyle Shanahan going, hey, do you still want Jimmy Garoppolo for a second rounder because Papa Kraft is basically saying we're not going to trade Brady? I mean, you don't think that was kind of the conversation that went on, or some variation of that conversation?
Yeah.
Everybody. You don't know what they've talked about when it comes to Aaron Donald. You don't know. Listen, everybody's available. That's just the way this league works.
Now, to piggyback off Marcella's point, like having worked in front offices, you don't understand the conversations that are going on. Everyone has a value. And depending on what they bring back, sometimes you have to consider that. Sometimes you have to take that phone call. And maybe you will consider making that move because it'll help your team. Just think about what the Dallas Cowboys did years ago when they auctioned off Herschel Walker to really build a team that dominated the early part of the 90s. I think Jamal Adams has a right to be in his feelings because it is painful to think that I'm the franchise player and yet you're ready to auction me off, but he has to understand it's business.
Why is it painful, though? I don't even get the painful part.
I don't get the pain.
What's the pain?
I say he should be in his feelings.
Why?
No, he can be in his feelings.
And Peyton Manning right now said, look, I want to speak for myself and come on and speak for yourself. Me and Jason going to look at each other like, are we having a three-man party? If not, we know it's going to be two. And who's going to be the one? That's how it goes. I have never walked into any situation thinking I was greater than a commodity. And I understand I bring great value and I can feel great about myself, but always remember the transaction. And that's what's happening right here. He walked into a situation. Who didn't grow up and walk to the store and spend their last dollar on a bag of Cheetos? I did. And then walking out as I'm eating them, somebody said, oh, man, let me get them Cheetos. How much? I'm ready to slang them right now for $1.25 for a price. Or walk your butt in there and get your own. The point of this is it's always transactions, even if it's a person.
I'm not speaking for anybody on this table, but I've got some married friends. And they'll all say, and particularly when they're mature in the marriage, who's on your list that I have to look the other way? If Rihanna puts it on the table, I gotta look the other way. If Denzel puts it on the table, again, you know what? One of my best friends was a girl that Michael Jordan hollered at. You turned him down? Don't tell that lie. Don't tell that lie. I'm not gonna look at you. I'm gonna actually look at you more valuable than Mike even hollered at you. And so this guy sounds really immature. But that sounds really immature.
See, but let's go all the way back, though. Let's go all the way back to when we first started playing the game, because I think some players have a tough time separating that part of when you get into it. When you're playing on your little league team and all the message that you've heard coming up, we're a team, it's about us, bind to the family, we're this, we break the huddle on family, blase, blase, blase. But now you get into the league, and it's the first time maybe that you don't know that, hey, we're 53 independent contractors working together. And we kind of hope the team wins while we're working together, but I'm always worried about getting mine. I don't know if Jamal Adams really let that message resonate that, look, this is business, not personal.
Well, he needs to internalize it because they'll tell you all the time that you're a football player, but you need to quickly realize you're playing football, and you better play it. So that means keep your heart out of this conversation, especially when you get drafted, when there's money attached to you and your game. What do you think that is happening right now? Every day upstairs, being a player rep, you get to see behind and see the books. Being upstairs in the front office and discussing contract situations, discussing if you should take a pay cut, signing a big deal. When you're in those discussions, you all have to know one thing. It comes down to value. Value means if someone gives me something as valuable or more, I'm going to consider it. It's a compliment in all respects unless you're not dealing with the healthy ego.
I would say this with him. Before you get upset, think about this. If they did move you, there's 32 teams in this league. You got 28 opportunities to be in a better situation than you are right now than playing for the Jets. Right?
No, I mean, what are they, 1-6? Yeah. And he thinks he's untouchable? How you going to be untouchable on a 1?
Ask Odell about that crack that they sell in New York, no matter what the record is.
That New York.
Woo! I play football in New York market.
It's delusion. To me, this goes back to this social media delusion. These guys, because one of his original statements was, I told them I didn't want to be traded. Right.
Yeah.
So?
Yeah. Are you building a brand or are you building a career? If you're going to New York, are you going there to build a brand or are you going there to build a career?
I will say this, though, to defend him.
He's a good player.
Well, he's tremendous. We're not even going to go there. We know that. My coach that recruited me to go to Columbia said this: do you want to go somewhere and carry the torch or go somewhere and light the torch? The torch burns no brighter than in New York. If he can stay to New York to them turning the corner, he knows what that looks like. So I'm not mad at that part.
You know what?
I'm staying.
Since we were talking, I thought of another story, and I'm gonna just say he got to get over this because he said he don't want to talk to the GM. Dude, one day, this is an honest God true story. In Kansas City, I'm laying on my couch, my girl's in the floor watching TV. Jamie Foxx called on her cell phone.
Oh.
I had to eat that. I had to eat it. I ate it.
Was she a comedian at least?
No.
Oh, damn. What you talking to Jamie for?
No.
What you doing?
I had to eat it.
Oh, you did.
Get over it.
Oh.
All right, coming up.
Break up dinner.
Uncle Jimmy's here to talk about our approval ratings for Jerry Jones. But go ahead, man. I know I'm big dummy today.
Oh, you know you big dummy today.
Go ahead, man. Get it over with.
Okay, let me get this right. You was on the couch, your woman was on the floor.
You caught that?
And Jamie Foxx called. Now, I don't know how you knew it was Jamie Foxx. Did you look over and see Jamie Foxx?
Oh, he had that angle.
Did he start playing music? I want the alcohol and the Henny. How'd you know?
Sniper on the roof.
Yeah, and you just good?
He had that vision.
And I just had to eat it. Oh, no, the hell I wouldn't.
You know, you.
Oh, my God.
I'd eat it while I was walking on the concrete.
You're going to take that L.
You got to go, baby.
You in the game. You're taking that L.
All right, let's talk Jerry Jones, who had high hopes for the Cowboys coming into the year. And after a 3-0 start, he now says he expected them to be better than their current 4-3 record. Marcellus, has Dallas been the biggest disappointment in the NFL so far this year?
No, not at all. Better record than they had last year. Remember, they were 3-5, and then Amari Cooper trade. They're still in great position. They won 10 games last year and went to the playoffs. I'm saying Cleveland or the Chargers are the consideration. I expected more of the Chargers, obviously a playoff team last year, and Cleveland with all the hype and attention and the talent, we thought we would see more than that. So I'll go those times.
I saw the Cowboys as a Super Bowl threat. Now I don't. Cleveland, I thought maybe they could back into the playoffs.
Right.
Chargers, I did expect more.
Yeah.
The Bosa's he should be doing better. All right, Uncle Jimmy, we had a big discussion about. I say the Cowboys should move on from Dak if he won't accept a team-friendly deal. Your thoughts?
Look, man, I said it, I meant it, and damn it, I'm here to represent it. I'm not a Dackery Fitzgerald Prescott fan. Now look here, what I'm gonna do here now is go back. Way back.
Take that time.
Back in the time.
Yes.
All right. Now, y'all done heard me use the movie Glory before as my little synology regarding Dackery Fitzgerald Prescott.
Drop the tear, though, next time.
Analogy. Go ahead.
You know, and I evidently I know for a fact that Dak is a big fan of the show. You know, I know for a fact, he be trolling me on the Twitter,
Trolling. Go ahead.
See, the problem is, Dak done got messed up. He done got confused about just exactly which character he's supposed to be playing in the movie Glory. See, I got the strangest feeling. He think that he's supposed to be Denzel or Morgan Freeman. But I think we all gonna have to come to one accord on this synopsis that Dak ain't no leading man. He ain't the star of the movie.
That's my point.
Oh, wow.
That's my point.
Look, man, it come a time in life where every man need to know his role.
Preach.
Like I tell my nephew all the time, know your neck rolls. Look, man, Dak is a character. He's the dude from Glory who didn't know his left from his right at the beginning of the show. Remember the dude said, this is your left and this is your right. And then Dak was like, please don't step on my foot like that no more, Mr. Jerry. That's Dak.
That ain't right.
Look, he can't carry a franchise. He ain't like Denzel or Patrick Mahomes or, hell, yours truly. Uncle Jimmy. People tell me all the time, Uncle Jimmy, you only on TV because you got that ungodly, natural given beauty. Hey, look, man, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Damn it, don't hate, participate. But look, enough about me.
Please.
Let me get back to my attack on Dak.
Yeah, wrap this up.
Part of Dak's problem is his agent.
I agree.
He got Dak out here reading his press clippings, filling him up on chunky soup and yogurt. It's getting to his head. Dak, listen to me.
He heard it.
Listen to me, Dak. You ain't the leading man. Look, you just a supporting actor. All right?
No.
Look here, be real. At the end of the movie, when it was time to go up the mountain, you the one that's breaking your neck running up the mountain with the flag. All the while, Zeke and Amari Cooper is back down the hill at the big house protecting the white women. Sleeping on the good sheets, eating the white cake. What you gonna do about that, Dak?
We're gonna get to my approval ratings. I got Jerry still in GOAT status,
White Cape.
but down 5 points.
We just want to win, sir. Oh, my
GOAT
Lord, Mr. Jerry. What we gonna do? Oh, my Lord. Mr. Jerry, I just want some shoes.
Wow, the internet has Jerry as a dumpster fire right now, 33%.
Boy, he is.